have PJ McNerney here with me on the opposing microphone. Okay, PJ's all about, he's a multi-talented, multifaceted person from laser engraving, computer tech geek, Irish dance. He's going to be talking about AI, but first we're going to talk a little bit about PJ and his background. What is the nationality of McNerney?
Well, thank you so much for having me here. This is great.
Thanks for joining us.
So, McNerney, as a name, the rough translation is son of the church steward. And the old joke in my family was, it's son of the church janitor. So that was the running theme, basically, when I was a kid. I did a test for Ancestry DNA, and the first one that came back said I was 93% Irish, and then the latest one, the evolution of results, say I'm 97. And I'd like to say that, people say, oh, you're purebred. I said, no, I'm inbred, because there's no way when you zone into those results and it's from just Western Ireland, it's really like, oh, you're really just from this part of Ireland. That's it. So my family came over on the boat in Ellis Island. So my grandparents came from Ireland, and so we're an original immigrant story. I live in Teller County now. We've been here for about 2 years.
I was going to say, how long have you and your family, because I've known you and Jennifer for about 1.5 years, because you're personal training clients of mine, but you have a big family, that it's, again, does a lot of things in the community. So yeah, let's just get a little bit more into the family role and, what you're all about, and tell us a little bit about the engraving and the dance, and then we'll get into your AI computer stuff.
Absolutely. So Jen and I have been married now for, depending on which marriage date you want to pick, 14 or 13 years at this point. Probably both. We've got 4 beautiful kids, 3 dogs, 2 cats, and a gecko. So, and a partridge in a pear tree. So we actually enjoy doing a whole lot of stuff. So my background really is in computer and electrical engineering, but we've also combined our talents to do a lot of really cool stuff. So one of the bits that we like to do a lot of is laser engraving. So a lot of our stuff is at, let's say, Hunt Homestead. We enjoy basically figuring out cool ways to take laser technology. We've got a nice, really big, powerful bed at home, and then create, fun sayings, burn things into wood, cut it up, make it into interesting shapes. I'm about to start playing with a CNC router as well. Another thing that my wife, myself, and my youngest child have been doing is actually Irish dance. So Mountain Air is the Irish dance troupe that's up here. I am the only guy at this point in time, so if any folks out there would like to do some Irish dance, specifically guys, it'd be great to have a few more of the Y chromosomes up there. But regardless, we have been fully enjoying getting into the small town community of Woodland Park. Been great to meet and train with you, Thom. We actually just trained this morning, which was great. So I'm feeling good.
We always have a good time, because I've had your kids there for a while, and I have your wife, and I have you. So yeah, it's a good energy, which is what we're trying to create. Not just in the gym fitness facility, but yeah, just with each other, because it's a good banter back and forth, learning from each other, talking with each other, and just sounding off guys on guys, girls to guys type deals. So yeah, it's been a really interesting friendship. Looking forward to, again, long relationship with us. So let's get into what you can tell people, help people with understanding AI.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most interesting areas, and you either think it's going to change the world for good, or Terminator and Skynet is coming for us very soon. And, the reality is that both of these extremes are what they are, extremes. I've been in technology my entire life. So I started programming on a Commodore 64 back in the 80s. So I go back a ways. I'm from the 70s. Grew up in the 80s and 90s, and really I grew up with the technological revolutions that we see today. And what I think has been amazing, especially since a lot of what I did was focusing in on media, movies. That's actually where I ended up working for a while, was at DreamWorks Animation. But understanding how technology started breaking down barriers for people. So one of the biggest changes that people I don't think realize is that, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, more, we were all under the tyranny, really, of the studios, the TV stations. They told us what we got to watch. And now with an evolution of YouTube and Vimeo and TikTok and Facebook, we get to become the creators. And so this theory of technology providing empowerment to people, I think, is this wonderful theme. And this is actually where I see AI, is that it's not going to necessarily say, I'm going to take all these particular jobs away. And I'll say this as a programmer, I think mine's actually in one of the most fraught for that. But what I think is amazing about it is that it empowers people to try things, do things that they wouldn't have attempted before. So you wouldn't have probably hired someone to be a graphic artist to do some particular graphic art. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. But now you can also ask AI, hey, can you put some image together for me? Or I want to put together a business plan. Again, you're probably not going to hire a McKinsey consultant to go and put together some comprehensive business plan for you. But now there's technology that has that global awareness to at least start the conversation. And I think this is one of the most wonderful things about it, is that it's about breaking down barriers to where I had a mental model to say, well, I can't do that because I haven't done 4 years of this school or that school. But now I have an assistant. And this is the way I really encourage people to think about it, where especially if you're a small business, there are some wonderful ways to say, I want to brainstorm an idea for an app, or I want to brainstorm an idea for how I can expand my business. And it's not to say that AI is going to give you the right example. Like, I would not be giving my books to AI right now, just to be sure. I think there's some things that are still well worth paying an accountant for. But it is a great way to get the cold start problem over with.
I scoffed at the idea for a while.
Me too.
Just for, again, a lot of businesses, a lot of even personal trainers are using it. And, in regards to that, it takes out the word personal when you're using the computer, to create programs and everything. But since I've been playing with it for writing letters and, seeking out some ideas for some galas for our nonprofit, or rewording some of my descriptions for my desserts, it's interesting what it comes up with. Yes, you still have to proofread. You've got to read what is being written just to make sure the spelling is there or the verbiage is there or something. But I'm finding it a little bit more fascinating just to use in what little amount that I do for, blowing up my descriptions on desserts, even dabbling a little bit with some training ideas and just getting some more ideas how to have a fundraiser for our nonprofit. So yeah, it is interesting. I've only touched on the very tip of it, but yeah, it is fun. It's amazing what it can do. And again, but you still got to go in, dial it in, because a lot of it doesn't even sound like it's you talking. It's so elaborate. It's so, glamorized that people are going to read it and know right from the get-go that, Tom didn't really write this. Tom didn't say this. It's too elaborate. But, yeah, it's a fun way to just start getting some information in your work. Charlie, what did you have to say on this topic?
First of all, we got to back up a minute. You said something about Commodore 64.
That I did, yes.
Dude, you're not that old, right? I don't think you're that old, because that was a while ago.
I was born in 78, man, so I'm from the 70s. I'm
good Irish genes, I guess. Eh? I'll tell you what. No, it is. That I can relate to that. I've gone back there. But speaking of the AI thing and the thing you were talking about, I think the counter to that you hear all the time is it's progressing so rapidly that there's a little bit of a fear. Yes, it's good to keep the accountant right now. Yes, it's good to do that. But they're afraid at some point in the not so distant future, they're going to take those jobs away. I hear it all the time, but I'm with you on the positive spin on it and the way it benefits and helps us, especially in the film side of things and different things of
Yeah.
that nature, and what Tom was talking about too.
I think I actually love it. I want to connect these dots a bit. Something you were saying, Tom, because it is very obvious from the discussion I'm a giant computer nerd, so it could be very easy to say like, oh, that's the guy who's going to use AI. Your usage and my wife Jen, who's brilliant. She's a speech language pathologist. She does lots of really cool healing techniques like NET and CRA and CW, and myofascial release.
Give her a little prompt. Where is she at? What's the business? What's the name?
So she is Heart-Rooted Healing. She has an office in Woodland Park. Tremendous in terms of the spectrum from emotional, connecting it to the physical. Jen at heartrootedhealing.love is the email address you can reach her at, and or Heart-Rooted Healing online. So she has actually made great use of AI as well. And once again, I think one of the key points in here is that she's not a computer nerd. So anytime there's a tech question, it comes my way. But she has been able to make great use of AI in the same way that you have mentioned, Tom, of just saying, hey, I want to create a letter. I want to create a presentation. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say that AI is going to get it perfect every time, and it often doesn't, but it's enough to get across like, oh, like this has saved me half an hour, 2 hours of time that I might not have invested because it would have been such a big barrier. And so now I'm cutting from like the rote material of like researching and copying and put it into place. And instead I can short circuit that so we can deliver more value. This is actually the whole great thing is that everybody can do this.
Okay. That's a good message right there. Okay. So continue a little bit more. So again, talking, businesses.
Yeah. I think there's so many different dimensions. I'm gonna talk through a couple of different examples.
Pick your favorites. Yeah.
I think that again, like if you're want to get a brainstorm of ideas, like I have an app idea, I want to figure out how to make it happen. How do I make it connect back to my business? It's kind of that great sounding board where it's not just like I have to come up all the ideas on my own. I can write a little prompt and then start playing with it, seeing what's useful, seeing what's not. Drop the stuff that's not useful. Keep the stuff that is. It's great in terms of saying, "Hey, I want to generate an image." And let me stop on this one because this touches upon a lot of different things. And the thing I like to ask people who are afraid of, oh, if you're generating image, aren't you stealing a job from a graphic designer? Maybe, if you would have hired a graphic designer to go do that. But if you're a small business, there's a good chance that you are doing a lot of this stuff on your own. So you're either going to do it yourself or not do it at all. And so I think there's a great opportunity here to, again, leverage up your skills to say, hey, I want to produce something a little bit better.
Jeez. Yeah, sorry.
I think there's a great opportunity here to say, hey, I want to do something a little bit better and take that basically, that tool that you have now, which is that AI side, and at least start it. Now, later on down the line, you might say, I want to evolve this in such a way that requires a graphic designer, which is great. Because now you're saying like, well, I wouldn't have done this action previously, but now that I have, now later on down the line, I actually might be hiring a human in here because it's so important to my business.
So the graphic designers themselves are probably leaning in the AI area, right? I mean, don't you see it that way?
I see this as actually, and I'll actually use my own industry as an example. So I am a programmer by trade, by an experience at this point in time, a software engineer. And one of the things I've been loving about it is that I am making it generate code for me. Now, it doesn't always get it right. It doesn't always get the logic right. But it's taking a lot of the grunt work out so I can be thinking more about the product side. I can be thinking more about the creative side of things. And to me, this is actually why we see this proliferation of tools is not because we're trying to take away creativity. I think we're trying to accentuate it.
You're being more creative when you're not having to spend 2 hours to think about the yes and the no's and the possibles and the
Right.
maybes and will it. You're cutting right to the chase.
Exactly.
Getting right into the meat and potatoes of it all.
Yeah.
So that does kind of make sense there. So
I am very, there's a thought that comes to my mind, which is, when we sort of think about how this empowers people or not, I think about there's got to be some paraplegic kid out there who has the greatest movie idea in the world, never would have been able to do it in a traditional Hollywood sense. Now, with AI, with the ability to generate videos with prompts, they can actually have a creative outlet. And this can be anybody at this point in time. And this is what I'm saying. It's not just about, hey, it's for my business. It's not just about for what I need to do in day-to-day life. It's also about how do I have a creative expression now that takes away a barrier that I had in my head that I can't do something.
that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, it's tearing down barriers, like you said, and gives, a person, like you said, the quadriplegic, hope in thinking that I can actually be a part of society. I can actually live my dream.
Yeah.
Even though I am, in a wheelchair, I can still be as productive, if not more productive, and just live out, create what I want to create and get the answers right away. And that, again, that's a big benefit right there. You're giving someone the dream and the desire to live, and
Yes.
create,
Yeah.
and not just think life is just so short and life is doomed. You're giving them the opportunity to see their future and live their future
Yeah.
when they're being told maybe in another aspect that it's never going to happen. So
Right.
that aspect of it, that's a bright shining star right there.
And this is why I kind of, balance it out with, I get the fears that are out there, but if we're only focusing on the fears, we're not considering the possibilities. It's like, how can I take this tool and make my life better? I'll tell you a funny story, and it's a nerdy one. Okay, folks. So, one of my favorite movies, and it's a super nerdy one, is Tron from 1982. It is one of the first movies, not the very first movie, but it's one of the very first movies to use computer animation, computer graphics in the movie. It was disqualified from even a nomination for the Oscars for visual effects. Why? Because they said that computers were cheating. Fast forward 11 years and you get Jurassic Park, when no one's going to consider that to be cheating at that point in time. So I look at so much of technology as being turning the wheel of time over and over again. Right now, we're going to consider this to be cheating. Fast forward 5 to 10 years, it becomes a part of our life.
Right.
And we haven't run out of creative stories. We haven't run out of need for different business functions, right? We have gotten more productive and empowered through computers, through technology. And the frank truth is, I see that same thing happening here. We don't necessarily have the line of sight to what that new set of business skills and then jobs are going to be. But think of it as a way of just saying, like, I have superpowers now.
It's going to enhance what you're doing.
Right.
And that's a good thing. It's going to open you up for using your time for more creative means. So yeah, I can see where it's definitely going to be creating and not taking away. And it's just, give people the opportunity to use some tools and really tap more deeper into their creative outlets than what they even thought they were, possibly capable of.
100%. There'll be dark sides to this, and I don't want to shy away from that
Like
either.
everything.
Like
Yes.
everything. There's going to be more deep fakes. There's going to be more, can I actually trust what I'm seeing online? There's going to be more like, is that real or is it an AI? So it's not to say, I don't want to paint everything as like, hey, it's a perfect future coming and that's it. But it's also a way of saying, like, when you're so heavily invested on the negative side, remember there's this big upside that's possible as well. And maybe that's the future we want to build toward.
For those of you that haven't tried it, just play with it. Even the most wildest thought. How many ways can I create a blueberry pie rather than just blueberries inside of a crust? Or a game, or whatever question you might have. Just throw it out there to AI and see what comes up.
ChatGTP, right?
ChatGPT.
That's a good way to start.
That's a great way to start. Gemini is out there, so that's
Gemini,
Google's version of it. I mean, these things are proliferating. Most of them are free to start. To be honest, like I have no stock in any of these companies, so it's okay. I'm not gaining anything from this, other than just really trying to say, hey, become empowered yourselves.
It's fun. It's fun to see what creates and how it just, you look at it and it just takes your basic words and it just blows them up into something more powerful, more descriptive, more elaborate. And it just, it has more impact on what you're trying to do, whether it's a product, whether it's a letter, whether it's a, goal you're trying to do. It just expounds it in ways you never thought possible.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And getting more comfortable with it makes you more powerful and makes you more informed, frankly, about where the pitfalls, the limitations, but also the upsides are.
So we're finding that there are a lot of AIs we just talked about out there, like you said. I just went online. I just used Microsoft Pilot AI.
Copilot, yeah.
Copilot, yeah. Very basic stuff. Like you said, it doesn't cost anything to use it, but just play with it and see, what it can do for you. And again, you've got a choice. You either use it or you don't use it, but don't bash it. It's going to be there. It's here to stay.
So I've got a sort of fun reversal of a quote. So again, another one of my favorite movies is War Games, ironically, about an AI run amok. And what it determines about nuclear war is the only winning move is not to play. I think there's an analogous quote that could be applied to AI today, which is the only losing move is not to play. So just play with it, enjoy it, figure it out, find your spot with it.
All right. Well, that sounds good. That's some good information on AI, and I'm sure we could be here for a couple more hours talking about this. But we've got to get into the lightning round and the funny part of our conversation here. So, all right. If your life was a packing label, what would the warning be?
This side up.
This side up. All right. You'll take that for the win. All right. If you could automate one annoying part of your everyday life, what would it be?
Paperwork.
Okay. All right. That's good. I'm sure everyone would like less paperwork and more productive time with their family, with their animals, outside in the gorgeous weather. Mm-hmm. If Woodland Park had its own reality show, what would it be called?
Oh.
Here you go. This is going to be a good one. I can't wait for this answer.
Heads Above the Clouds.
Oh. Heads Above the Clouds. Okay. All right. Not was I expecting. A little bit more pizzazz, but okay.
I think
if you don't have your coffee, it could be Heads in the Clouds.
There you go. All right. Okay. Lightning round. Your choice. Coffee or chaos?
Oh, coffee.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mountains or beach?
Mountains.
Okay. What was your first job ever?
My first job ever. It was actually I grew up, so the Catholic school that I was part of, like part of it was actually like doing, you could actually like be effectively like a receptionist at like the priory where the priests were. So that's actually one of my first jobs.
Okay. All right. Which is more terrifying to you, a broken printer or a surprise Zoom call?
Terrifying? Probably the broken printer, because you only find out about that once you really need it. Like, I need to print out my taxes right now. It's broken? Are you kidding me? The surprise Zoom call? Like, that's where you just be like, oh, my camera's broken. There's so many excuses nowadays. And this is where an AI avatar might come into play at some point in time, too, where it's just like, I'm PJ.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. PJ, where can people get in touch with you, maybe to find out more about AI or, your skills, your laser engraving? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So the best way to get in touch with me is actually through my business email. So I have a consulting group called Mount Consulting Technology Organization. So PJ at mcto.tech. So feel free to email me. I'm happy to, do, chat about AI, do like some consulting, like figure out how to make it best work for your business, and really just technology, how to make that work best for your business as well.
All right. Well, a huge thank you to PJ McNerney this morning for sharing his insights, experience, and the thoughtful perspectives. If you want to know more about his laser engraving skills or the benefits of a hot tub, cold tub plunge,
Oh, yeah.
he has just given you the information. I have not done this cold tub plunge. He wants me to do it. But yeah, very formative information. But yes, you can reach him where he said. So again, thank you for your time this morning, PJ.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was so much fun. It was great.
All right, Charlie, you want to say a little?
No, I do. I want to thank you. And, prior to this podcast, I mentioned to PJ, we are going to be doing a new documentary with the UPass Historical Society. And trust me, PJ, we're going to be tapping into your brain a little bit on that end of it, all right?
Happy to help. I love media so much. But if you need me to hold a boom mic, I'll hold a boom mic.
Well, thanks for being here. We've had a lot of fun, and I appreciate it. And we'll do this again.
I'd love that. That'd be great.
All right. So let's get right into what events and happenings are happening in Teller County. The Young Entrepreneurs Start Smart Expo. That's for budding young business kids, I guess. It's going to be October 18th at the UPass Cultural Center. We'll be having more information on that as we get closer. That's 10 to 2. The Rampart District is opening a satellite library up here at the Pikes Peak Community Center, and they have their, grand opening October 1st, I believe. I think it's a Tuesday. I'd have to get back to you on the date. But Charlie is going to tell us a little bit more about the vintage baseball game and the whole potato soup concept that is coming up in October.
Okay, yeah. I even wore my jersey. So we're having a vintage baseball game with the Colorado State Vintage Baseball Association All-Star team, which is several guys off that whole crew, playing against our local Divide Fire Department. And no pun intended, but they are definitely on fire wanting to play these guys, all right? So, yeah, we got them coming in. This is October 11th at 1 o'clock in Hayden Park Field right here in Divide. And the potato soup supper is the evening before, starts at 5 o'clock on the 10th. And what that's going to involve is some amazing there's potato soup and there's real good potato soup. And it all stems from the history here in Divide. They used to grow tomato soup and supplied a lot of the country. Sorry, they didn't grow potato soup. That would be pretty tough. No, they grew potatoes, lettuce, and all kinds of different vegetables up here back in the day, and they would ship it all over the country in times when people were hungry back in the Depression and so forth. Anyway, we're going to talk about some of that, but also on that evening, we've got a guest speaker whose name is Roger Digger Haddix. He's one of the players of the vintage baseball all-star team. And Little Digger is quite a character. He's written some fascinating books about the history of baseball, and actually teams that were here back in, like Woodland Park had a team, Colorado Springs. They used to have an excursion with the Midland train that would bring the people from the Springs up to the ball games. And yeah, we're going to have the hot dogs, Cracker Jacks, peanuts, the whole 9 yards, and going to have some great entertainment. And these guys get out there and, sing, the baseball typical songs, take me out to the ball game and all that good stuff. It's a lot of fun. Bring chairs, because I don't know how full the bleachers will be. So it's a good idea to bring some chairs and so forth, but we'll have plenty of refreshments, and they'll be throwing peanuts around and everything else. So please join us, and we'll let you finish up.
Good deal. All right, some good information. Baseball, yes. Potato soup, even better. All right, the Community of Caring Foundation broke ground on It's a Place for Kids, a child daycare center up in Cripple Creek. They are waiting to, literally break ground, but they had a big celebration a couple days ago, and they're looking to create a good center for kids and parents up in Cripple Creek. Stop by and check out the garden in front of City Hall. Okay, something new to the area, but yeah, you can check out zucchini and onions and spinach and tomatoes and fresh strawberries, lavender, pineapple, sage. It's something that is being run by the city, but it's a gorgeous garden out there right in front of City Hall. Something I just came aware of this morning, an interesting article, paintbrushes as musical instruments. brushes that combine color and sound. This person's name is Camry Ivory. She's got a studio in Green Mountain Falls where she designs paintbrushes that allow her to create art and music at the same time. Her palette is 12 brushes of different colors, each with a different musical tone. She's going to be doing a show on Saturday, September 20th, starting at 2:30 till 5 p.m. at the Green Box Farm and Art Market, and she's going to be performing a concert at 6 p.m. on September 27th at the Sally Bush in Cripple Creek. Until next time, stay inspired, stay engaged, and take pride in the place we call home. So please, if anything caught your eye, you liked what you heard, we're always looking for guests, but please go to all these various social media and like us. We look forward to having you at our next podcast. So enjoy your day, and thank you from Charlie and PJ and myself for taking the time to have your coffee with us. Talk to you soon. Have a great day.